Hi, I'm Preston Williams. I'm on here today to talk about my favorite band of all time, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't really have anything planned, but I just wanted to talk about Maurice White and the impact that he's made, in the music world. I mean, it's just unprecedented. Hearing of his passing a couple of days ago affected me profoundly because it felt like I lost a family member. I've been following this band for over 40 years very closely. I've collected all types of memorabilia. Their music, you've heard that saying, their music has become the soundtrack of my life. So, musically, what can I say about them? I mean, they've affected so many people, crossed many different genres of music. I mean, I still to this day have never heard a band like them that fused together pop, R&B, jazz, gospel, rock, funk, blues, this Afrocentric thing that they had going on musically. But his passing has really affected a lot of people. Like I said, it feels like you lost a family member. But we just wanted to talk about their music today, specifically their albums. And there's several of their albums that are just brilliant. This one here, Last Days in Time, came out in 1972. This is their debut on Columbia Records because they were on Warner Brothers. And they had a few modest, I guess, hits, but they hadn't really crossed over yet. And they made some really nice songs. One of the ones that sticks out for me is "Love Is Life." But I guess Maurice White was talking about this earlier in their career, that he felt as though they didn't know how to market them properly because they kept marketing them as an R&B band, and Maurice kept telling them that we're not an R&B band. We have universality concepts and ideas, and our music is not, as he would always refer to groups like maybe the Four Tops or the Temptations, which are great bands, but he referred to a lot of those bands as drill team acts. The guys have the suits and they do the steps and everything. They were a self-contained band. But this album, Last Days and Times, has some beautiful songs on it. The late Jessica Cleaves and the late Roland Bautista was on this, and she did a fantastic couple of songs on here that were really good. I'd Rather Have You, which is one of my favorites, along with Mom, and just the album cover and the title, Last Days in Time. Really some good stuff. And I got a signature here, if you can see right there, zoom in, by Ralph Johnson. Ralph signed that for me. And just one of my favorites. The next album is a personal favorite as well. This is Head to the Sky, made in 1973. This was actually the last album that Jessica Cleaves appeared on. And just a remarkable album. Probably my favorite song on here is an instrumental called Zanzibar. And from what I understand by Verdine White, the studio that they recorded this album in was called Zanzibar. But this is from 1973. And, people who know their music earlier in their career, they were more jazzy fusion, as Maurice White would say, were jazz musicians who play, popular music. And I've also heard, I guess from Philip Bailey, we're a fusion band turned commercial. But jazz, I think, has always been at the forefront of their music with gospel overtones. Maurice White starting out in church, singing with his grandmother at 6 years old. I think that had a profound effect on him, as well as, him talking about a drum and bugle chord coming through the neighborhood. And he said he wanted one of the shiny suits. And that affected him too. And he talked about how he even got into the band. He says he didn't really play drums, I guess, that well, but he conned the band director into letting him in the band by twirling sticks and doing all these things to, to really get this guy's attention, because he said that he saw these girls looking at these guys with the shiny suits, and he was like, "Man, I got to get one of those suits. I got to make this band." So, that had a tremendous effect on him also. And I think also his time with Ramsey Lewis back in the 60s when he was with the trio. And Maurice, of course, was a drummer at Chess Records, session drummer, and appeared on countless records. Fondella Basque, Rescue Me. He played with a Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. so many sessions with different artists, just tremendous. And like I said, the legacy of the band and what he did and how he created it, as I said, is unprecedented. I just don't know of anyone to even come up with something like that, a concept like that. And like I said, the music affected everyone. I mean, even the great Miles Davis himself said, my favorite band is Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's got to be Earth, Wind, and Fire. But love their music. The next album they did after this is another, probably one of my personal favorites, or maybe one. I always thought this was their best album, as far as like before they became commercial, when they were more jazz-oriented, Afrocentric with the kalimba. But this was taken in Colorado, this album cover, and they said it was very cold outside at the time, but this is really great. And this is also the first LP that Charles Stepney was brought on board. Maurice brought him on board, and the two of those guys together, co-producing and writing together, and of course Charles as arranging, made this a masterpiece. This was signed by Ralph and Verdine, and one of a personal favorite of mine, probably my favorite song on here, is "Feelin' Blue." And I like the drum song. I mean, every cut on here is good. And actually, it's probably one of their most diverse albums. I mean, you have on this gospel, like Open Our Eyes. You have funk, you have rock, kalimba story, spasmodic movements, this little jazzy riff. It really showed the elements coming together. And that was recorded in 1974, came out in 74, and it was also the same year that they brought Brother Fred on board. And the first time you actually see him, I believe, at a performance, at least that was filmed, was the California Jam, which I believe was April 6, 1974. And I think Earth, Wind, and Fire were the only African-American band there. I think that event was a major turning point in their career. And from then, it catapulted them into this. I think most people probably have this album. This is, in my point of view, their best album, along with All in All, which I'll get to. This recording sort of set a standard in pop music, R&B. They crossed over on this album with the help of radio disc jockey Frankie Crocker, who they were great friends with. Frankie was instrumental in helping a lot of artists, playing their music on the radio, where a lot of white stations would not play a lot of black artists. But this album crossed them over, and it was also taken from a soundtrack, a film, That's the Way of the World. And, of course, the movie flopped. And if you watch the movie, it's really not that bad. It really isn't. I mean, it tells the story of the music business and how things can go wrong. An act is trying to break in and make it, and then you have this bubblegum act that gets pushed. They get all the marketing and promoters. People are pushing them out front to be successful. But this was the album that really took them to the next level. Shining Star, That's the Way of the World, and Maurice always talked about this album. Specifically, That's the Way of the World. He said that was probably his favorite song and closest to his heart. And Charles Stepney did some great arranging on this recording. One of my all-time favorites, and like I said, I believe everyone probably has this recording in their home. The next album that Maurice and the guys did was Gratitude, which is considered a masterpiece as far as live recordings are concerned. And the story goes, the band was touring a lot in '75. They didn't have enough time to put out another album, so Maurice was recording their shows, different places where they would perform. He was recording the shows, and at the end of 1975, they put this out, which went double platinum. And speaking of platinum, double platinum, Head to the Sky was gold. Open Our Eyes became platinum, and their first, I believe, double platinum album was That's the Way of the World, Gratitude double platinum, which was an unheard of feat. I mean, if you think about it, in the 70s, to go for a black band to sell a couple million records was unprecedented. They did it like 6-7 times in a row. Like almost everything they touched from like 1974, 75 all the way to like 80, 81 was like going double platinum or platinum. I think Faces was the only recording that went gold for them. And I think a lot of that had to do with there was a recession going on at the time. But Gratitude is a standard it's considered to be one of the greatest live albums recorded. I believe I was reading Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive was sort of the standard, but Gratitude sort of set the standard after that, and just incredible songs on there. You know, the live version of Reasons. You have Can't Hide Love, Sing a Song, which are studio versions of songs. You have Devotion, Sun Goddess. And they had previously, a year earlier, had recorded that with Ramsey Lewis, and just marvelous. What can you say about Earth, Wind, and Fire? Maurice is just, boy, what he created. This next album is probably, most people who know me know that this is my all-time favorite, and I had this signed by Verdine and Ralph, Spirit. It was also the last recording that the late Charles Stepney was involved in. I think he helped him with some basic tracks, and Larry Dunn talked about this. They were recording some basic tracks, and he gets a phone call that Charles passed away. But this is probably my all-time favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire album. The song Earth, Wind, and Fire that Skip Scarborough and Maurice wrote, the little musical interludes, Imagination, Getaway, that I believe the late Beloyd Taylor, helped write, and just the photo, the pyramids, and when you see this album, I think along with All in All really stands out to me. Just the whole concept of it. Maurice was really a deep brother, and what can you say about Earth, Wind, and Fire? I mean, who doesn't love them? This next album, before I even put it up, really, if I were asked, Preston, I'm trying to get into the music of Earth, Wind, and Fire. What should I listen to? What do you recommend? First album, there's two albums that I would definitely have a person listen to who wants to get into the music. One, of course, would be That's the Way of the World. And the next one is probably their crowning achievement, their best, this album here, All in All. This is the band, as Maurice White stated, at their pinnacle best. They had reached new heights in their songwriting, production. Look at the album cover. It's just unique. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, people were mesmerized. I never forget, this album came out in November 1977, and I can still vividly remember, I was like 11 years old, giving away my age. But I was 11 years old, and it blew my mind when I saw the artwork. The artistry was just brilliant. And this is a result of Maurice White's Egyptology, reacquainting black people with their past. And he's decided to present the albums that way. But that particular album, All in All, I would agree is probably their best. It's one of my favorites, but it's, as I said, everything on it was just perfect. I think I heard in an interview Ralph Johnson saying, the first whole side of, side one is just some of their best stuff. But just, with the whole thing with the pyramids and I think this is during the time that they would really trial a lot of their shows. They would have people come out and look at their shows to fix some things and just get people's opinion. But, that album, like I said, put them in the stratosphere. And like I said, the songwriting, the production, the stage presentation, just Maurice's vision and ideas, just incredible. Verdine's bass work on here was really something, like on Jupiter. And what can you say? Getting back to Maurice White again, he, when I think about his legacy and what he laid down, I mean, it's there forever. You put together this band that plays a wide variety of music, changed the life of so many people, and jazz artists, rock artists, even musicians that in the classical world revere Earth, Wind, and Fire and Maurice White. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, the great Miles Davis, to me, who's like maybe the greatest jazz artist of all time, said my favorite has got to be Earth, Wind, and Fire. Their horns, the horn section was probably one of the best in the business. You have the late Don Myrick and Louis Satterfield, guys like Elmer Brown, Michael Harris, the arranging with Tom 84. All these musicians were just brilliant. They came together. Maurice brought these guys together. at just a special time. One of the most prized possessions that I have of them is this. I cherish this. It's a tour book signed by Maurice White back in 1996, and it's got has a lot of different photos in it, of the band, and I think this is one of his last tours from '96, but it's signed by him. And actually, I wasn't there when it got signed. I actually got this as a present, and guy gave it to me. It was signed by Maurice, and just thinking about how this music has affected people. I have some good friends like Anthony Walker, Mira Flood, Larry Rogers, Soleil Brewer, one of my dearest friends. It's really, really affected them as well as it has me, because, we felt like we've lost a family member, and their music, has changed lives. As I said earlier, the soundtrack to our lives, and it just continues. The music continues to give. I have an interview with Maurice White where he says he talks to people. This is decades ago. He says he would run into people and they would say, "You know what, man? Every morning when I get up," he says, "I put your music on. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to go to work." And he says, "I put your music on, man, and it just sets my whole day in motion, and I feel great and charged up." And Maurice says, "You know what, man? That makes me feel really, really good. Thank you." And I think, a lot of the greats that we have, we've lost so many people this year from of course, Maurice, David Bowie, guy from the Eagles, I believe Glenn Frey, I believe is his name, Natalie Cole, late last year. We've lost some great, great artists, and, their music, like I said, just lives on. But I just wanted to get on here today and just talk a little bit about Maurice White and Earth, Wind, and Fire and what they've done for, not only the music industry, but African American culture. I think about this. David Foster said it so eloquently. He says, "Every single artist who had a career since Maurice White trailblazed owes him a debt." Whether it's Lionel Richie, Prince, Luther Vandross, Jay-Z, Kanye, Michael Jackson. I can go on and on. Whitney Houston, Madonna. I can go on and on and on and on. The standard that he set, the bar that he set was so high. The musicianship, as I said, the songwriting, production, just everything is top-notch. Fashion, their state, their attire. I mean, what they wore on stage was just unbelievable. You just don't see bands of their caliber around anymore. And when I think about them, it's always with a smile. Their music is just so, so, so profound. Listen to some of the lyrics to the songs. "Master told me one day that I would find peace in every way, but in search for the clue, wrong things I was bound to do. Keep my head to the sky for the clouds to tell me why." Just beautiful, very positive messages. Like I said, it's something that's just going to stay with me forever. I didn't really have anything planned getting on here. I just wanted to talk to you guys today and just share the music, the life of the great man Maurice White, which, as I said, his legacy is intact and will live on forever. And I just want to close and just congratulate the band, especially Ralph Verdine and Philip. Thank you for continuing the legacy, keeping the music going. You definitely, will do Maurice proud, and I'm sure he's proud of you. And I'm sure, you got that from him many times. I mean, Verdine gave an interview a couple years ago when they did Now, Then, and Forever, when he gave Maurice the music to listen to. He was a little nervous, left it with Maurice, and he didn't hear anything back from Maurice. And then I guess finally hears from Maurice, and he says, "Man, you guys didn't embarrass me." So, but you guys, thank you for continuing the legacy. And with the upcoming Grammy, with that Lifetime Achievement award that they're receiving at the Grammys, what a special way to put that icing on the cake, on your career for doing this like 45 years and to finally get that. And to be honest with you, you guys probably should have gotten that award, maybe even sooner, maybe 5 years or so ago. But it's okay. The fact that you're getting it is just special. And just thank you. Thank you for the music. And, you guys have left your mark. I'm Preston Williams signing off. Peace.